Alright, ladies and gentlemen, today I am taking you all the way back. I know it's an incredible stretch of time. You won't believe they still made movies back then, but to 2014. To a film that is generally regarded as a great movie, It Follows, which I would have to describe as being, well, what would happen if Michael Myers from the Halloween series became an STD. Good movie. A lot of symbolism, a lot of nudity that may scare us. It's really can be upsetting nudity. There is some stuff like you're like, ah! If your girlfriend has had bad experiences in college, she might have flashbacks if you sit down and watch this movie. So yeah, it's like what happens is this chick falls in love with this dude, gets it on with this dude. Turns out the dude was leading her on the whole time because he wanted to give her the murder STD, which apparently takes the form of a naked chick that comes after you. And if it makes physical contact, it either rips you to shreds or drains your life force or something. And yeah, this is a movie about if there were a monster that becomes either your greatest dream or your worst nightmare, and, you know, comes after you. It's very primal in reality. This movie, I mean, the monster could be interpreted as simply age or the loss of innocence or any number of things. I mean, there's one scene, oh, I hate to spoil it, but it's a very short scene where it's like the monster becomes somebody's mother. And you're like so Oedipus on this. Like, dude, your mom's hot. I mean, my mom didn't age well, so I would have to say that much. But I mean, I'm sure there's some people that thought my mom was hot, but yeah. Yeah, anyway, you know, I don't know what I would have done if I had a hot mom. That would kind of trip. I have a okay aunt, I think. But I mean, you're like, yeah, I would definitely never do my aunt either. So yeah. Yeah, one of those things. But when you're 18 and your hormones are raising, you want to do anything that moves. So yeah, there's some psychology going on in here. There's a deeper nature to this film, and it could be intentional, as in this is art, or it could simply be the artist put creepy stuff together, and that creepy stuff became this movie. The two ways it could go. But I would have to say It Follows is a very fresh movie. It is very different from other horror movies. And it's like, yes, it is a what-if presence. I would have to, again, point out that you've got a monster here that, yeah, it should be pretty easy to deal with this monster in reality. If it were a real monster, you'd be able to deal with it pretty simply, you know, but that's not how this movie is, and you need to have a movie there. So there's a certain suspension of disbelief in this, but it's the same suspension of disbelief as you might find in, say, a Jason Voorhees movie, Friday the 13th movie. It's like, yeah, why can't I just go up to this guy with an axe and sever his spine? Most of the movies he's human. Later on he becomes more supernatural, but in the movies where he's human, you gotta ask that question. So, is there a hokey horror element? Yeah, but I mean, I would say if Friday the 13th Part 2 is a 8 out of 10 on hokey horror elements, this film is maybe a 4 out of 10 on hokey horror elements. So it's a solid film. It is a really good watch. If you're a horror aficionado, you need to watch It Follows. It's one of those films that should just be in your vernacular. And if you're not into horror movies, this film is not for you. But I will also point out that this film has both male and female nudity. That bothers some people. I just want to point it out there for the sake of those of you watching, considering this film. There is a little of both. So if that weirds you out, I mean, I know it weirds some people out. If that does, you might want to skip this one. Just saying. Anyway, that's my opinion. I'd love to hear yours down in the comments below. I'm Richard.